So my background as a winemaker within the wine industry actually started in restaurants while I was in undergrad. My bachelor's degree is in a very unrelated field. I have a bachelor's of music in jazz composition. And I was working in restaurants while I was in college to pay my bills, and fell in love with wine through the teachings of a very proactive wine steward at a casual fine dining spot I worked at. And that was the beginning of what is still continuing today. But that led me to go back to school for enology and viticulture, and then the experience of selling wines in restaurants for 8 years before I went back to school. Well, actually, 7 years before I went back to school. That experience helped me figure out which wines I liked the most, so that by the time I finished school, I knew exactly where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. And it was Oregon. And I came down here as soon as I graduated just for some visits, and went to one of my favorite wineries called Belpont in the Yamhill Carlton district, AVA, and spent an hour there. Ended up barefoot in the vineyard because I wore stupid shoes. And I asked if he wanted harvest help. And he said he'd get back to me. And then a couple of weeks later, he said, sure, come on down. So then I had to decide, I was a sommelier and a bartender, and they aren't going to hold that position for you if you're gone for 6 or 8 or 10 weeks. And so I decided this is what I want to do. So I sold a lot of my stuff, and the stuff I kept, I packed into my car and drove down here and stayed at the trailer on the vineyard through that harvest, and then actually took over as the assistant winemaker there after harvest was over. And from there, I worked at various other boutique production facilities, with the largest production I ever did at Willackenzie, and we were at about 20,000 cases at that time. I worked in New Zealand. I worked off-harvest in Burgundy and in the Sonoma Coast. But I haven't missed a harvest in Oregon since 2007. And I honestly don't plan to until I can't walk anymore. Well, probably by then I can levitate to the winery, so it'll be fine. But so my background is boutique. It's handcrafted, small lot ferments, barrel age, carefully manicured vineyards, and very moderated crop loads. And so I've been able to continue that ethos while making the Battle Creek wines.